Oh shit. Welcome to this week's episode. I gotta fix my mask of Amsterdam talk. We're celebrating, Halloween in its finest right now. So of course, I come as the spider as normal for Halloween. So tonight is definitely going to be a little different than we always talked about. In celebration for Halloween, we're doing nothing but horrible date stories tonight. So this episode is called Nightmare on Amsterdam Street. All you're gonna hear for the next hour is horror date stories at its finest, and also you're gonna see some of America's most iconic um horror of individuals gonna stop in and pop in tonight. You never know who you might see tonight on this episode. So we're gonna load it up in a couple seconds. How y'all doing out there today? First and foremost, I should say this is very odd. I'm sitting here by myself, so how y'all doing out there today? So I just like to thank y'all for tuning in to Amsterdam Talk. Welcome to Amsterdam Nightmare on Amsterdam Street, and we gonna get well. Of course, you see I got spiders joint on it. I don't have a whole suit on, but we can ready to get this started in about the next 2 or 3 minutes or so. Matter of fact, we're not even gonna wait that long. Let's get it started now. Nightmare on Amsterdam Street tonight on Amsterdam Talk. All your horrible dating stories that you sent in to me. Um, and I'm retelling your stories. And just I want to know what y'all think out there. Because that's what we doing tonight. Nightmare on Amsterdam Street. And we get ready to start right now. I see y'all in a little bit. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of I'll Be Damned. So, we start off with a story in Charlotte, North Carolina. She says, I met up with a guy at a bar. It was like pulling teeth to talk with him. I try to talk about travel. I don't see why anyone would ever want to leave the United States. I tried to talk about running. I don't know why people run for fun. Finally, he contributes something as he says he likes cars. So I tell him about my brother just purchased an Aston Martin. Aston Martins are shit. I really only like Camaros. I told him I drove an old Camaro for 9 years. You don't know shit about cars. I don't, not going to deny that, but really all I said was I drove a Camaro from 16 to 25. Then to top it off, he started talking about no fap and how he tried that, but it just made him angry. So he followed strict masturbation policies once every 3 days. He said it gave him sizable loads without affecting his mood. Check please, separate. I'm out. As we part ways, he tries to go in and go in for a handshake. I jokingly asked if he masturbated today. He says yes. I ask if he washed his hands. He hesitates. I smile and say goodbye, leaving his hand hanging out there. By the time I got home, he was deleted from Tinder. I'll be damned. Well, this segment is going to have 3 stories in this. So the second story that I got was
Here's Johnny.
Nightmare on Amsterdam Street. And we're back on a special edition of Amsterdam Talk. So the second story goes like this. Washington, D.C. I had a guy come over and he was very attractive, so we had sex and then went to sleep. I had to wake this kid up at noon and be like, okay, I have to get ready to work. You need to leave. So we started to get dressed and couldn't find one sock. He accused me of stealing it. He searched through all my drawers and dumped out all my dirty clothes in the hamper looking for it. I ended up finding it weeks later in my sock drawer. I kind of think he planted it there, but I'm not sure why. So finally, he starts to leave and his car gets towed because he parked exactly where I told him not to. If you've been to DC, them damn signs are like so crazy. So anyway, he got his car towed. Looking back now, I would have told him tough shit. Got him an Uber and went to work. But I took him to the car tow place so he could get it back. And of course, he doesn't have his wallet. So I had to pay for it and sign for it because he doesn't have an ID on him. But the car tow place doesn't take cards, doesn't take credit cards. So we had to go find an ATM to get cash. So he finally gets his car. I'm already like 30 minutes late to work. He goes, okay, I'll call you later. And I just said, never talk to me again. He texted me a few hours later and said he lost the stylus for his phone. I blocked his number. Oh man, he was doing anything just to talk to her, man. Anything just to talk to her. I don't know what sometimes be going on with you dudes, man. You know, y'all just hiding socks and, you know, leaving wallets, and now you calling up for a stylist because you lost your stylus. But anyway, we'll be back on this special edition of Amsterdam Talk. I'll be damned.
Give that back.
Hey, we back with this special edition of Amster Talk, the I Be Damn Horror Show. Happy Halloween. So this next story comes from the boot, the bottom of the map, New Orleans, Louisiana. And she writes in and says, I met this guy. We went back to his place, presumably for sex. The pillowcases were stained with blood. Place was filled with empty beer cans, 4, I kid you not, 4 rusty, hair-filled razors in the shower. All were his. He lived alone. The sink was coated in hair and toothpaste. I was so disturbed. Then he told me he had a suspended license, and I kid you not. We never met again. I hightailed home. So first and foremost, dude, why do you have pillowcases full of blood on them? Listen, there's some crazy ass stories on this Halloween show, man. We be back right after these messages, man. I'll be damned. We got more stories coming tonight.
Take your best shot. Motherfucker.
Hey y'all, we back on a special edition of Amsterdam Talk. So I get this one from up north, you know, deep up north. This was from my friends in Canada. Toronto, Canada. She stated, "This was my introduction into online dating. Wasn't exactly what I expected. Prior to this particularly horrendous date, I've only met someone from Tinder once. He was a bouncer at a club I frequently went to, and we played Mario Kart for 2 days before calling it quits." Well, I wouldn't say that's really online dating because you knew him. You just happened to see him on an app, and all right, anyway, but that's my story on that one. After hearing a few success stories, okay, you always hear a few success stories. After hearing a few success stories, I decided to give it a shot again. I was 24 and living with my parents, and I figured new me, new year, right. I was wrong. My Tinder date, first of all, showed up to our date spot at Timothy's Cafe, unfashionably 30 minutes late. He then proceeded to tell me about his anti-sex Catholic upbringing, his desire for a homemaking wife, and his penchant for feet, his fetish for feet. I'm not one to judge people for their fetishes, but correct me if I'm wrong, this definitely wasn't a first date talking point. The date ended with somewhat an unwanted sloppy kiss beside my parents' van in the parking lot, and a strong desire to never see this human being again. Turns out he had other plans. I let it slip where I worked, which was a fair distance from where I met him and where he lived. A week later, he appeared at my place of employment for a wait a minute. Hold on. He came for an interview. He reached a whole new level of creep. Once he got hired, I requested shift times that did not overlap with his. Eventually, he got fired for harassing a client, which I warned my boss about this time. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Jokingly, I loved it on the first date. Hold on. He went that far to go get hired where she worked at? You dudes are crazy. We'll be back after this break, man. I'll be damn coming right back at you. We're back with this special edition of Amsterdam Talk again. We're talking about I'll be damn horror stories. Here's another story that comes from Spanish Harlem, New York. I had been talking to this guy I met on Tinder for a couple weeks, and he seemed nice enough. One day, I posted on Snapchat that I was going to get coffee. Why everybody always going to get coffee? Oh, anyway, I don't know. And he writes back asking to join. I agreed and gave him the name of the place where I was going to be. I sat down and the waitress takes my order, a caramel latte. He enters and we say our hellos. Conversation-wise, it was fine. Nothing too exciting, but not horrible. We were both Dominican, so we bonded over that. But he was good looking and he knew that. So a lot of the conversation became about him. He ordered his coffee and 2 appetizers, then another one, then another 2, and another 2. When he gets the last one, he offered me some, but I declined. I had plans after to eat with my friends. So at this point, I had my 1 coffee and had 6 appetizers. He had 6 appetizers and 1 coffee. Now this place isn't cheap. My latte was $7. And all the apps they sell, all the appetizers they sell, are $14 and above. When the check comes, I take out 10 from my wallet and put it on the table. He looks at me and says, "Aren't we going to split it?" I start laughing because, of course, he must be kidding, since I didn't even have one bite of the appetizers and the check is over $100. He's not laughing, so I realize he's not kidding. I tell him I'm not paying for anything since I didn't eat none of it. He says, "So that's how you gonna play me? That's your decision?" At this point, I really didn't want to argue, so I just stood there and told him to have a good day. He started yelling in the restaurant, saying all these insults about me and how sad that makes him because I seemed nice and he had high hopes for us. I could hear him still yelling when I went outside and as I walked away. So let me get this straight, Spanish Harlem. Y'all go eat. He go to the car. He invites himself to the coffee shop and just buy all these appetizers and shit, and didn't offer you none, and gets mad because you didn't want to help him pay the bill. Man, I'll be dead, man. We be back right after this, man, with some more of these horror stories or this special Halloween edition, man. I'll be dead. Welcome back. For this special edition of I'll Be Damn Halloween episode. So now we have one. Where did she say she was from? I don't remember, but okay, all right. This is another New York story. Another New Yorkers. A lot of New Yorkers today. I got a lot of people in New York. What up, Eden Wall? How you doing? But anyway, New York City, Bronx. So I was at Bay's house as per usual, and we were cuddled up on his couch. We ate, drank, and watched a movie. Once the movie was over, I gave him that look. It was time to get it on. Kissing and hugging, sucking, you name it. It got so hot and heavy that we didn't even make it to the bedroom. We started on the couch and then the dining room chair. He gave me everything. I got mine and then some. He took charge just the way I like it. And he led me to the living room floor where he bent me over and gave it to me like his life depended on it. Marry me. What? He kissed me on the back of my neck and then the small of my back. Woo! My knees were getting weak. Partly because he was pounding the shit out me, and also because he didn't have much padding. Sorry, he didn't have much padding in his carpet, so the pressure was killing my knees. This shit was really hurting. He pushed me down, arched my back a little more. I just knew I was about to climax, but out of nowhere, I let out a screech and practically jumped out my skin. Why? Why not? Because I had the big O, which is the orgasm again, which would have had nice. Nope, that was not it at all. What it was, a motherfucking bug climbed up my leg. I hopped up with the quickness and ran around the living room screaming and tried to get that thing off my leg. A damn silverfish was on me. A silverfish. Shoot me now. I got it off me, but didn't get a chance to kill it because that sucker crawled away so damn fast with me being in major panic mode. I was so distraught after that, I couldn't even continue. I was so traumatized that I haven't had sex on the floor since that incident. So, a silver fish crawled on her leg. And so we're gonna do a little research. So like people ask, why do you have silverfish in your house? Silverfish seem to pop up in places that have a lot of humidity or moisture, places such as a bathroom, laundry room, or basement. This is because these pests are drawing the moisture. A silverfish, also known as a fish moth, urban silverfish, carpet shark, is a very small insect with a flat and slender body. So basically, you have no padding on your floor, and the moisture of the hot and heat brought the silverfish there. Could have been a roach. Could have been worse. But anyway, I'll be damned. We be back after these messages for some more stories on this special Amsterdam talk, man. We be back.
Give me that.
Sure. How do you want it? Broken leg?
Ah!
Shouldn't tell your customers where you hide things like this, John. Gets you in trouble every time. Now, how do I get out of this body?
No, I won't tell you.
Yeah?
Welcome back. For this special edition of I'll Be Damn Halloween episode. So now we have one. Where did she say she was from? I don't remember, but okay, all right. This is another New York story. Another New Yorkers. A lot of New Yorkers today. I got a lot of people in New York. What up, Eden Wall? How you doing? But anyway, New York City, Bronx. So I was at Bay's house as per usual, and we were cuddled up on his couch. We ate, drank, and watched a movie. Once the movie was over, I gave him that look. It was time to get it on. Kissing and hugging, I let out a screech, being in major panic mode.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Welcome back to this special edition of Amsterdam Talk, where we're talking about I'll Be Damned and all the horror stories that happen out here for this Halloween. I think I might have gave you this story already. But if I did, I'm giving it to you again because it was such a blast when we first talked about it. And I think I gave it to you, but we're going to give it to you again just because we can give it to you again. Baltimore, Maryland, my hometown. So it was the summer of 2003, and I met this guy through a coworker because I needed someone to hook me up with bootleg cable. I called the guy, gave him my address, and we agreed on a time for him to come by later that evening. He came over around about 6:30. So with his tools, and not to be mean, he kind of looked like a hamster with man boobs. He flirted with me the entire time. I was skinny and cute back then. So I figured I'd flirt back so that he could bring down his $300 fee. Anyway, he hooked up my cable and started looking around my place and asked, did I have a man? My response was, I sure don't. I'm trying to get that discounted cable. He asked me out, and I told him I had to study later, but offered to cook dinner since he was already at my place. I was super excited. I texted my bestie and told her the deal so she could come rescue me from this guy. I began cooking while his big ass sat on my couch, talking a hole in my head. Talking a hole in my head about how he almost was in the NFL, but became a phone tech, had 2 kids, drove an Escalade, blah. I just acted interested, but I really just wanted to watch The Simple Life. It was a popular TV show back in '03. He asked to use my bathroom, and as soon as he walked to the back, my bestie arrived. She and I sat at the table. She and I set the table for 3. Evil grin. LOL. And I caught her up on all the nonsense he was saying to me before she arrived. The dude was in the bathroom for a while. I hope he was not taking a shit. Then all of a sudden, he came around the corner naked as the day he was born. My bestie and I looked at each other and started to strip immediately in preparation for the impromptu threesome. Shit, I'm just joking. He stood there in complete shock while he beelined back into the bathroom, and we laughed so hard because he was even fatter without his clothes on. Not to mention, I couldn't tell what he was packing because that belly covered anything that may have been a penis. This dude stayed in my bathroom for almost 15 minutes. He eventually came out super fast apologizing, swooped up his tools and rolled out. He didn't even get his money. I think I saw him at the grocery store a few years later, but I'm not sure. I do know my ass pay regular for the cable now though. I have friends who are utility workers who have told me stories of porn-like work experiences, but that was not the case at all for me, old fat ass hamster. So he just went in the bathroom and got naked. I'll be dead, man. We'll be right back with this special Halloween episode, man. I'll be right back. We're back with the special edition of Amsterdam Talk, the Halloween edition of I'll Be Damned. So now we have someone chiming in from Philadelphia, PA, live from the 215. So I've been seeing this guy for about a month. I liked him a lot and really enjoyed his company. Well, this one particular night, we went on a date and it was great as per usual. I didn't want the night to end, so I invited him inside as he was taking me home. Get your mind out the gutter. We watched TV and got caught up in the moment with laughter and great conversation. Time flew by, and I didn't want him to make that 30-minute ride home because I knew he was tired and it was very late. So I went into my room to catch some shut-eye. We cuddled until we went to sleep. So romantic for me. I hope he felt the same way. I woke up the next morning and saw my guy sleeping so peacefully next to me in the middle of the night. In the middle of me staring at his handsome face, my stomach did a 1-2 step and started beatboxing. I just knew I really needed to pass some gas. Come on, stomach, not now. I want to cuddle. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, so I figured I could let one of them silent ones go. While Mr. Handsome Face was sound asleep, I slowly turned my body away from his and got closer to the edge of the bed so that I wouldn't wake him up when I let this bitch rip. Man, it felt so good to get it out my system. Morning farts are the best. But there was a huge problem. It wasn't silent at all. Not only was the fart loud as hell, but it made the bed vibrate. I was praying to God my God slept through it, but my prayers went totally unanswered because he woke up and said, "Yo, what the fuck?" I hope we can overlook that situation. I mean, the thing with this is, I think she was comfortable because women normally don't fart around you the first time they meet you. So she was kind of comfortable around you, dude. So I hope, you look past that. We'll be back right after this commercial break, man. More stories of I'll Be Damned Halloween special. We're back with more. We're back with more Halloween stories for I'll Be Damned, this special episode. And this one takes me down to Dallas, Texas. Down to the D. Pause. Down to Dallas. So I decided to try out a dating app to test the waters. I'm a silly person to the core. So I made certain to include some banner about the importance of nice, well-decent teeth in effort to avoid matching with a yuck mouth. A person with really bad teeth. I perused through some profiles and came across this one guy who was very attractive. However, I couldn't gauge how his teeth were going to look because his mouth was closed in all his pictures. Red flag. But I decided to put those fears aside. Swipe right and boom, it was a match. We chatted on the app and the dialogue seemed cool enough to exchange numbers. I decided to take things a step further and do a video chat because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be some sort of catfish situation on either side and see what that mouth do, i.e. how his teeth look. As he started to speak, I felt relieved because I could see that his teeth looked fairly decent and he was as handsome as his pictures. She wiped her forehead. I apparently said something funny as the conversation continued because he let out a thunderous laugh. One of those head cocked back, mouth wide open kinds of laughs, and the side of his mouth seemed a little, hollow. But I couldn't really tell because he didn't have a lot of lights on when we video chatted. I figured it was a shadow of some sort, so I didn't bother to bring it up. However, it lingered in the back of my mind. It was back in her psychoanalysis just going crazy. Fast forward a couple days. He called to ask me out on a date to have crabs. Yes, I love me some crabs. And the conversation, first of all, y'all buying crabs in Dallas? Okay, anyway, besides the point. And the conversation took an unexpected turn. He started to ask how many guys had my phone number. Hundreds or thousands or maybes or so. How many dates I've been on and etc. I told him that his questions didn't make any sense, that he should focus on how the two of us were going to connect instead of worrying about another man. Who does that? She's right. Who does that? Why are you worried about another thing? You know, who does that? You should not be worried about who was getting it before. You should worry about you getting it now. But anyway, back to the story. I told him I wasn't dating anybody, which was true, and that a lot of guys had my phone number, which was true. Hey, I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean I'm dating them. I asked him the relevancy of his questions, but he didn't have an answer. So I decided to ask him some questions of my own. Well, since you want to get all personal, I have a question for you then, but I don't want to offend you. Shit, I'm a grown-ass man. Don't nothing faze me. You can ask me anything. Alrighty then. Are you missing some teeth? She wrote crickets happen. That's why I got quiet. She wrote quick crickets. He says, where? What the hell do you mean where? I don't know. Your shoe. Crickets. That's what she wrote, crickets. So I said again, are you missing any teeth? Well, yeah, but I don't understand why you asking me that. Didn't you read my profile and what I said about teeth? Yeah, I read it. But a real woman would help her man get his teeth fixed. What? Goodbye. Why is it someone else's responsibility to fix your teeth? What happened? I got into a couple accidents and some fights in high school. Face palm. So on top of you missing teeth, you can't fight? I can't. He continued on his delusional rant, stating that his woman should help him get his teeth fixed, and then shared that he was offended that I even asked him about his teeth. I don't understand how he could be offended when he has been walking around without side teeth since high school. By my calculation, is a total 22 years. He's 40 years old. So this brother was going around with no side teeth for 22 years. And to make matters worse, he had the money and the means to get his teeth fixed for quite some time. He said that he didn't think it was really important. Meanwhile, there's no shortage of pictures of him posing in luxury brand attire with his mouth closed, of course. priority? What are those priorities? What are those? Needless to say, he canceled our crab date because he felt uncomfortable. I don't want you staring at my mouth while I'm trying to chew crabs with 6 teeth. Okay, I was definitely going to be stern, so he made a wise decision. But for ending the call, he decided to make the situation even more awkward by alluding to the fact that he could offer me some oral pleasure because his tongue works fine. And visions of yeast infections immediately filled my mind. Fix your teeth. If he actually has some sort of realistic plan to get his teeth fixed in the near future, like tomorrow, I would have been more understanding, possibly. So he had 6 teeth. All right. I mean, cat got his tongue, I guess. I don't know. We'll be back after this commercial break with more horror stories of I Be Damned. We back with our special edition of Amsterdam Talk. I'll be damn horror stories tonight. And this one's from Raleigh, North Carolina right here. I had to go down and talk to my cousins about this one. So, I met this old head, pushing 50 or older perhaps. And he was sharp as a motherfucking tack. He was a little old in the face, but his suit game was on point. He smelled good, and he was seemingly the perfect gentleman. We exchanged numbers, and naturally the courting process ensued. He picked me up one night for a date, and we had a great time. We went to a show, ate, drank, danced. It was awesome. As our date came to an end, I was ready for him to take me home, but he had other plans and decided to drive in the opposite direction, which was to his home instead. Alrighty then. That's what she said. As the ride continued, I noticed that the neighborhood became more and more shabby. We're not going to use the word ghetto. We're going to say the word shabby. It's shabby. Once we got to his place, I couldn't help but wonder why a person would invest in luxury items such as suits, watches, cars, yet live in a rundown apartment building in a super shabby neighborhood. I assumed his home was one of those don't judge a book by its cover apartments, and that it would get nicer once we got inside. Fuck if I was wrong, it didn't. And my dumb ass didn't bother trying to leave. I was too tired and too deep to turn back around. So I told him I wanted to just go to sleep because after all, it was very late. There were 2 rooms in the apartment and he walked me to what I thought was the guest room. To my surprise, the guest room was his actual bedroom because the old head had a roommate. A roommate. Yeah, a roommate. How are you 50 years old with a fucking roommate in the apartment? They are her words, not mine. To make matters worse, this guy had a twin bed. A fucking twin bed. With no headboard, as a matter of fact. Bro, where are you going to sleep because we both cannot fit in this damn bed together? Fix it, Jesus. Now, I mean, back in college, yeah, when I was smaller, yeah, I could get in a twin bed with somebody. But right now, I'm a grown man. I can't get no twin bed with nobody. But anyway, back to her story. At that point, I was too tired and defeated to care about his fucked up living situation. I mean, we had a great date, and that's all that mattered, right? So I prepared to get some much needed shut-eye. However, 15 minutes into my snooze fest, this dude decided to wake me up by kissing and rubbing on me. Oh boy, here we go. I was a little annoyed, and not because he wanted to do the nasty, because number 1, this motherfucker woke me up out my sleep. And number 2, he was trying to fuck me on a twin bed. Now, I can understand number 2 about a twin bed, but I was told by, women that don't wake me up out my sleep unless we fucking or eating. So I guess that gotta be true. But for her, she said no, 1 was not good, and damn sure number 2 was not good. So anyway, Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. It's bad enough that you drove me to this refugee camp of a home, and now you expect to have sex with you on a damn twin mattress like I'm in high school? Not happening. I wasn't even in the mood, but he was determined to go there by taking a trip down south to my nether region. Wriggly that, man. Normally, I'd be excited about this type of activity, but this guy was Terrible. Terrible. That's what she wrote. Just awful. I honestly don't know what the fuck he was doing down there. So you're 50 and you don't know how to eat cooch? What flip flam filth is going down? What the fuck did she just say? What the flip flam filth is going on here? He was sucking my girl so damn hard it wasn't the least bit pleasurable. I would have been better off dry humping the nozzle of a vacuum cleaner. I tried to guide him, and when he finally started to get better, this fool stopped and said, "Okay, my turn." As if I'm somehow going to put his elderly penis in my mouth when he didn't even get me off. Pop, pop, kill yourself. Your turn. Yeah, you're not even done yet. What do you mean? I did a good job down there. A good job. A good job according to who? I do reckon that I am the one giving the grade here and you're not finished. Sir, if my toes are not curling and I haven't awakened your neighbors with joyous screams, please do not give yourself an attaboy. You lost your damn mind. I turned over, went to sleep, and that was the end of it. Sincerely, I'm going to stick with the young folks. Riley, y'all got some explaining to do, man. I'll be dead, man. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to this special Halloween edition of Amsterdam Talk. This story takes place in Columbia, Maryland. Back in 2009. I met this girl who went to Strayer University. She was a school teacher in Columbia, Maryland. And she also lived out Columbia, Maryland. She was like 98 pounds soaking wet. I like them little chicks who can hula hoop through a Cheerio. They give me a rush. You can toss them all over the place. But anyway, so we decided to go out on a couple dates. We decided to go out a couple days later. We're at Arundel Mills, eating. Money wasn't a thing. That day I was income tax balling. I was letting her go in. Man, she had mozzarella sticks for appetizer, and I treated her a little extra special. I let her get a little extra A1 sauce on her steak. So we had a good time that night. So she was like, to me, she was like, "Yo, can we go out another time?" In my mind, I'm like, yeah, boy, that extra A1 sauce with that side of broccoli did that. So we went out a second time. Nothing interesting happened on the second outing, but the third outing, shit started showing its colors. She calls me and says, "Hey, babe, you want to come over and have some drinks?" I said, "Oh, yeah." But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, a little drink I'm about to beat all the electrolytes out this woman. So I had to stop at the bar. All I had was $8 and didn't want to go to the bank machine. So I bought a paint of America's Finest, E&J, and went over there. So I get there and she like, "Let's go get some pizza." Cool. I stayed in the car while she went and paid. She came out and said the pizza man asked me for my phone number. I said, "Did you give it to him?" She was like, "What?" I said, "Girl, you saving us money. Hit him off." So she like, "You joking?" I just turned the music up. So we get back to the house She like, here's your drink. I say, what is this? She says, hypnotic. I say, I'm a grown ass man. Why would I drink hypnotic by itself? Let me pour some of that E&J in there. She like, that fake Incredible Hulk? I'm like, nah, girl, this shit the gout. So she goes upstairs and calls me up there with her. I'm like, hell yeah, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. So I hit a few push-ups, get the juices flowing. I get up there, she's staring at me in this sexual beast mode way. And she says, can you fix my DVD player? I'm like, what the fuck? So I fixed the DVD. So she like, I'm about to go to bed. Are you joining me? I'm like, yeah. So we're laying there. About an hour or two goes by. I rolled over to get comfortable. Mind you, it's at least 2 football fields of space between us. She pops out of her sleep like the exorcist and says, I hope you do not think you were getting any. I'm like, what gives you that idea? She's like, I'm not like that. I'm not like that anymore. I am saved now. So I said to her, used to be a jump off back in the day. I bet you jumped higher than Kenny Skywalker. She looks at me, rolls her eyes, and lays back down. Morning comes, I get up. I hear Kurt Franklin playing in the black background. She walks in like, can you iron my jeans? I'm like, all right, where the jeans? Man, these jeans were so wrinkled. I swear it looked like she had the New York subway map with a slash of bus routes on her pants. Them pants were so damn wrinkled. Man, you could set them jeans on fire and them wrinkles would still not come out. I tried to on the jeans, but it wasn't happening. Them jeans still had stretch marks in them. So she hit me with this, the mortgage is due on the 6th. In my Kanye voice, huh? She like, you stayed the night, so you gotta pay half the rent. I'm like, oh hell no. I stayed one night, and what is this? What is this, a motel? Cause if this is a motel, I go cheap, and we could have stayed at the Motel 6 on North and Charles. And second, I ain't see no box. I don't know if it smelled like potpourri or Lexington hallway stairway piss. And third, breakfast tastes like fried cardboard box. Fourth, you got me out here fixing electronics and shit like my name is Overton. And I'm sorry, maybe I came a little too strong. I should have asked you to pay the gas. She said, maybe I came a little too strong. I should have asked you to pay the gas and electric bill. I said, what? Fucking with me, you be in the dark. And IKEA having a sale on candles. $2 per candle. Light it up, shorty. Peace. Have a nice day. Funny thing is, that story really happened to me in 2008. I can't remember the girl name, but that shit really happened. It was a wild moment. And the one thing I remember, she used to always tell me, my ex-boyfriend used to get up and smoke weed before he had interactions with me that day. And now I understood why he did that. She was fucking crazy, man. It's like, and even to go to explain the story after that, after all that happened, 2 days later, remind you, this is in 08, 09, she calls me, I'm in the barbershop, talking about I miss you. Like, yo, you just played me out at your crib, told me don't fucking call you no more, because I didn't want to help you out with your bills after one night. Like we stayed at the Red Roof Inn and shit. One night, you called me 2 days later saying you missed me. I'm like, nah, shorty, go ahead with that, man. That was crazy. I wonder what happened to her, but we'll never find out. I'll be damned. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next week. So that was the Halloween special right there. And that is the true story that happened to me back in '08. Um, just fucking madness, man. Just like, you just let me stay the night there, and all of a sudden you ask me for half of your fucking mortgage the next day. I didn't even touch you, woman. I slept like on the opposite end of the bed because your ass was fucking crazy. But anyway, I got one more story, and it's not about me. This is really quick. Um,
So this lady, this girl mother, she hooked up with the maintenance man in the building. She said he looked like Tyson Beckford. So she said when he got there, he did not look like Tyson Beckford at all. So they go to the movies. Well, he picked up from the crib. She said she was trustworthy of him because her mother had approved them. So she figured her mother knew him. So they went to the movies. And as they went to the movies, they were chit chatting and talking, and she looks down and she sees this box on his leg. So she goes to the bathroom and calls her girlfriend and says, like, yo, this motherfucker's on fucking home detention and shit. So she comes out the bathroom and she says she didn't feel good, so she had to go home and shit. So basically she explained to her girlfriend, well, she's explaining like she would never date anybody on home detention because there's restrictions to the shit. You know, you got to be in the house by 8 o'clock, and she like doing things after 8 p.m. So late, yeah, you know, mamas be trying to sell their daughters. You know, they be pimping their daughters out, but don't be knowing anything about the dude. So, ladies, I'm gonna ask you one time in these comments: would you date a guy that's on home monitor, that's on like the box? Now I got another story real quick. I know I said I had one, but I had another story. So this guy met this lady on Tinder as well, and and I'm summarizing what I remember, and they met each other. Well, they started talking. They started talking on the phone, and they decided to go out. And he told her she told him what she had on. She had on a yellow shirt, a yellow hat, and you know, she was standing outside the car and they was going to the movies. So as he pulled up to the movies, he said she straight catfished him. He just rode straight by and went home and never called her again. And also I learned when I was going through these things and I'm talking to people, when people say they got food poisoning does happen. But if anybody said they got food poison, they just don't like you. Straight up, flat out. They don't want to go out with you. Because I don't know why everybody uses food poisoning off of that. But I mean, I had so many stories that I looked at, you know, shit was it was just crazy. I mean, for those who just coming in, we did a story from New Orleans. He took the girl home and he had blood all over his pillowcases and shit. Um, we had the guy who wanted to have the girl pay for dinner and she only had coffee and he just ordered all this shit. Nigga with no teeth, with 6 teeth in his mouth. It's been all types of shit, man. I wish y'all could actually see these stories that I get emailed to me and that come to my phone, man. I'd be at, you know, in my office cracking up. I'd be home cracking up on, you know, on some of this shit, you know. It's just crazy. And this is a matter of like, you know, when the New York stories come in, I think I say, damn, there's a million single women in New York. So what the fuck is going on in New York with the fellas? Yo, I don't really know to answer that, but you know, it's just crazy. So thank y'all for coming and joining Amsterdam Talk. I'll be damn special. We'll be back next week with Kevin told us he got catfished by a little person last night. Oh man, that reminds me of a story when I was in Ocean City hugging this midget. But that's another story for another day. Next week, we will be having home caregivers on explaining how to care for elderly and sickly people in your family. You know, I have Pinhead in my phone. I just didn't I have Pinhead intel from the hood in my phone. I just forgot to put it on there. I thought about something else. As a matter of fact, by me dubbing that one story up, I'm missing a story. Oh, that's the 10th. I'm sorry, that's the 10th. I don't know who's next week. Then I'm sorry. Caregivers is on the 10th. Next week is the 3rd. Shit, I don't remember. But if y'all got time for another story, I can give y'all time for another story. If y'all got time for it. If y'all truly have time for another story. Let me pull my email up. I got one more story. One more story for y'all, man. If y'all got the time. Rock with me for a second so we can make sure we make our hour. So this is what I actually had, but I decided I didn't want to put it out there. So she basically said, we met at the park. It's another Tinder story. So they went to the park for their first date, and he definitely was giving off weird vibes. Within a half hour, he asked if I'd give him a blowjob right in the middle of the park. I said, no, there are people around and I just met you. His next idea was to go in the men's bathroom and asked if I'd do it in there. I said, sure, go ahead in and I'll follow you and I'll follow in there in a couple minutes so it doesn't look suspicious. Once he walked in the bathroom, I quickly found my car and left his horny ass. A Journey to the Throne is next week. Yeah, we had another story. They met on Tinder. They went to the house for the first. She went to his house for the first night, and as they were flirting and getting in depth by talking, they realized they were second cousins. Um, yeah, they realized they were second cousins. Um, yeah. So I think that was. I think that was about it. And one more on the way out for this one. Um, and I heard about this. What she said that he was arguing with his mother on speaker in the car on the way to the restaurant. Almost made me call off the date. Answering the phone on speaker and again arguing with his mom on the speaker while in the restaurant, which finally made me walk out. She was totally horrified. She said basically, Rod, I didn't want to continue with the date because if he's disrespecting his mother, he'll probably disrespect me. So I see y'all next week, man, with my guest on the Journey to the Throne next week. Thank y'all for joining the horror special, man. It was cool putting it together, man. I got that dating story in Colombia. Yeah, it was me, but it's all good. So y'all have a good night, man. I see y'all next week, same time, same place. 9 p.m. Wednesday night. We'll see you on Amsterdam Talk with a Journey to the Throne. I have my guest back next week and we can do this again. Thank y'all for rocking out on a special Halloween episode. Y'all have a happy Halloween this weekend. Drive safe, drive safe, do all that stuff, costume yourself out, have fun, do what you got to do, and just go from there. But I gotta leave y'all with this one. I'm gonna leave y'all with this one, and I'm shutting up after this. So this is another tender date. We were like 15 minutes into our date when he said, in this exact order, that he liked to eat asses and lick feet. And if this is going to be serious, you really need to lose weight. I wanted to leave the date as soon as he said that. When he suddenly demanded I drive him home because he didn't have a car, I told him that my car wouldn't be able to move with two fatties in it, and I pulled the fuck off. He just straight up told he'd like to eat asses and lose weight. I see y'all next week, man. Y'all gonna have me telling y'all all my stories. I ain't gonna have shit for next week. I see y'all next week, man. Thank y'all for rocking out with us this week. See ya.